Now coach is really prepared.
Yeah. From last week though.
Oh,
Because I lost my
Are
sword.
we good?
All right.
We're live on the track. We got a new producer right now. We got Doug Fisher's in the house.
What's up, y'all?
Editor-in-chief. What do you have? The Parkview alumni?
Oh, yeah, I got to represent Springfield, Missouri. 417, top of the food chain. Everybody knows that.
The 417.
Only winners come out of Ozark.
No, 417 is Springfield.
That's right, 417.
Springfield,
Dave knows.
Missouri.
You know why Dave knows? Because he had so many franchises for Rent-A-Wreck.
Yeah.
He knows all the different area codes.
Yeah.
That's right.
How many franchises did you have at the peak?
700.
Over 700 franchises.
We had one.
Was that worldwide or was that nationwide?
Worldwide.
We had one
Worldwide
in,
is Dave is worldwide.
Yeah.
we had one in Springfield, Missouri. We still do.
Still there. I bet it does well.
True. It does great.
And you have one at the Philadelphia airport.
We do. That's right.
And you got the wild card. You got Freddie Roach's wild card boxing. Is there any subliminal messages involved with that?
There might be. there might be.
You never know.
So what do we got? We had the Sister Cat rematch with Estrada.
Yeah, and I was there.
The rematch of Superfly.
That's right.
Two.
That was okay. Yeah, that was
Superfly.
So that was last February at the Forum. So Rungvisai Estrada 1 was the headliner for
Right.
Superfly 2,
Yep.
and it should have been the headliner for Superfly 3.
Should have, yeah.
Yeah, I guess better late than never.
Yep.
But I tell you what, it would have been better for Srisaket probably had they done the rematch last year with Superfly 3.
Yep.
Because I don't think
That's the only reason it
the
didn't
time
happen,
between
'cause-
it wasn't good for
Yeah,
him.
Sister Cat wanted some extra time. He wanted a fight in Thailand, and otherwise we could have done it at Superfly 3.
I don't want to say he went soft, but so he had that fight in Thailand where he weighed like 120 pounds. The title wasn't on the line. And then he made a title defense against that dude from Mexico, Iran, whatever his name was.
Right. I think
You
around
know.
Diaz.
Yeah, I think that was his name, Iran Diaz, right. And he's getting bigger and more popular there.
Strategically, he
Signed some deal with the One, with that like a mixed martial arts organization or whatever. But I think some guys can handle getting big time, like Triple G. He can handle Canelo Alvarez. They can handle the big time. I feel like Srisaket lost a little bit of something. I think physically he was there, but I just that eye of the tiger, that edge. I didn't see that. And then fighting as a righty,
Right-handed,
fighting
yeah.
orthodox
Strategically,
for
I
as
think he
long
was
as he
off
did.
a little
But
bit.
that also tells me something's up with his head. Like he's thinking, oh, I got to change something. Maybe what I did in the first fight wasn't enough, or he's thinking too much. He needs to go in there and be what he is, which is a puncher.
At the same time, you got to give
Estrada is awesome.
a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Estrada seemed like he elevated his game.
Elite
But with
level,
Sister Cat, I
pound
think
for pound level boxer.
his peak was when he beat Chocolatito the second time. First
Yes.
time was very close. Arguably,
I thought
Chocolatito should have gotten the decision.
I thought Gonzalez won that fight.
And then
But it was a fight of the year.
that was fight of the year. Yeah.
It's a great fight. But, you know, Soar also had some marital problems and got divorced.
Yeah, he always has.
That
He's got
took a
some
little out
issues.
of him. And I felt that he wasn't concentrating enough.
Right.
Something was wrong.
Just didn't seem like he was like
Not dialed in.
as dialed in as he
Yeah.
was before.
He might have meditated too much.
Exactly. You got
Too much meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
That's possible.
Daniel Ramon had a big win.
Listen, that's
That
Fight
show?
of the night. Yeah.
Daniel.
Danny Ramon,
TJ
Goheny.
TJ
Fight of the
Goheny,
night.
you got to give TJ a lot of credit. The way he spoke, the way he fought. I mean, he seemed
And
like
none of that was a surprise
all
to me.
all class Irishman.
None of that was a surprise.
And I figured Roman had the edge in that fight because of his body attack, and I think that was the difference.
That's a big
Obviously,
win.
the two knockdowns was the difference.
Big win for Thompson Boxing.
Huge
Shout
win.
out to Alex Campanova.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of
And Ken Thompson.
Thompson Boxing,
Who commentates for Thompson Boxing these days?
I know that Beto does.
Beto? Yeah.
Beto and the other guy. That's what they should call it.
And
I
the
like
other
that.
guy. But I was
I
listening,
like that.
and you were talking about James Toney's fifth fight on YouTube.
Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins.
Fifth fight,
Okay,
yeah.
so Bernard Hopkins, who did I say?
James Toney.
Oh, no, okay.
They're both great.
Yeah, so Bernard Hopkins' fifth fight is on YouTube. It is the greatest exhibition of boxing of all. And the way he
Pure
brought
boxing.
those, oh my God,
Bernard was a great
crazy.
boxer.
Saw the foundation.
It's
You
crazy.
saw,
He
yeah.
was definitely a great
He's
boxer.
so good.
Yeah.
And the other guy came in, this was a walkover for the other guy.
Right.
Oh, I've watched that fight so many times, and I forgot about it a little bit. You mentioned it.
I did.
Really good. And Bernard Hopkins, the way he blocked every punch
Yeah.
with his elbows, and the way he did it.
Hopkins was well schooled. But I brought that fight up because Hopkins has gone on. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I consider him an all-time great. He's got the records, a lot of records.
He's
Right?
tied with Triple G for the number of middleweight title
Middleweight
defenses.
title defenses, longest reigning middleweight champion of all time, over 10 years. He was a light heavyweight champ, and he was the oldest champion ever in boxing, regardless of weight. But you got to start somewhere. His 5th pro fight. That guy he fought, his record was 1-1. And the reason I brought that up is like when we do these streams, these club shows, and I get it with you too, Tom. It's a guy who's 18 or 19 years old. He's in his 5th or 6th pro bout, and they're saying, "How come he's not in tougher?" Or they don't like the record of the opponent. And I'm like, all these guys, Floyd Mayweather, all these, and their 5th or 6th pro fight. They're not fighting
Especially
Godzilla.
Mike Tyson, if you see his build-up fights,
Sure.
but he was getting experience.
He had to do that.
Had to get the experience, yeah.
Especially if these guys. I mean, if somebody like Floyd Mayweather in his 5th pro fight is fighting a guy with a 500 record, and Mayweather from a boxing family, obvious natural ability, and he was a bronze medalist at the
medalist,
Olympics, so he was an elite amateur. That tells you if you didn't have that kind of background or that talent or that maturity, obviously you got to be brought along slowly if you're going to really have a successful boxing career.
At the same
or have
time,
a shot at it.
Same time, if you got a guy that has like 20 first-round knockouts, then there's a problem. So
That's,
there's
yeah,
got to be a balance.
There's a balance, yeah,
There's
no.
gotta be a balance
But
there.
it's an incremental steps. And
So with B-Hop, I think he lost his first pro fight.
yes, he did.
Okay,
Clinton
then,
Mitchell, I think.
then he talked the guy into training him.
Bully. That's
Bowie
right.
Fischer.
Bully Fisher, because
Bowie
Bully had
Fischer.
retired.
He
was sick of
retired,
boxing.
and he was just a guy hanging around in that gym.
Gym rat, yeah.
Yeah,
Old
and
head. He
so-
was an old head, not a gym rat. An old head.
So
yeah.
B-Hop, and he owned a automotive body shop.
That's right.
So B-Hop talked him out of retirement to train him.
Yeah.
And the deal that Fisher said was, I'll train you, but you're not going to fight for a year.
Right.
So, and he moved in his house.
Yeah.
He went to work in his body
Yeah.
shop for him.
Yeah.
And but it's amazing. You got to watch this fight. It looks like, it's like textbook, totally.
That's Hopkins.
The whole thing.
He followed the text. Yeah.
And then to see how happy they were after.
Yeah.
The way he hugged Boy.
But you're leaving one really important factor out of that fight. They took it on no day's notice.
Yeah.
They got
Same
the
day.
call the
Yeah.
morning of the
They
fight.
drove to the
Come in.
land.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it happened. It was ESPN. And it just happened they put that fight
Right.
on. That's the only
Exactly.
reason it's there.
Yeah.
And then and he looked incredible from the first second.
Yeah.
And then like at the end of the first round, Al Bernstein says, "Well, the adrenaline's going. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's going to fall apart."
Yeah. Right.
Then we had Francisco Vargas fought. He beat Humberto Soto.
Yeah, that was a good fight. That was
a good
Soto
fight.
was kind of amazing. I mean, Soto lost the fight, but I had so much admiration for Soto because at his age and with all the wear and tear, he's got more than 80 pro fights.
Yeah.
And he was taking it to the young man. He was timing his combinations, and but
There's a lot
Father
of
Time
history.
is
A lot of
undefeated.
history with Soto because when Kevin Kelly fought Derek Gainer, I think in the rematch, HBO had guaranteed him, okay, if you lose this fight, we'll put you back on. And Top Rank said, oh, we'll put him in against Humberto Soto. It was
And they
supposed to
knew
be a
Soto's,
comeback fight,
yes.
and that was supposed to be a win for Soto. And
Yes.
Kevin wound up beating him.
it was a hell of a
That
fight.
was, I
Very
think that was
close.
Soto's last loss for a long time.
Very long period.
Yeah, for a long period,
Absolutely.
and then now he's how old? We were talking about that. How old is Soto? Is he?
Probably late 30s.
Well, because Kevin is like 51,
Yeah, but
50, something like that.
Soto probably turned
Soto
pro at
10
15,
years younger?
man.
I think
Soto
he's
probably
39 or 40. Something
I
like that.
watched the Kevin
He's
Kelly.
40. He's just 40.
Really?
I watched the Kevin Kelly Prince fight also
How
last
awesome
night
was that?
on YouTube.
Prince Ahmed, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
That was the first
that
fight
was
of the
crazy.
HBO deal when they brought him
Yeah.
over here to the U.S. That was one
That
of the
was
most
crazy.
historic fights in Madison Square Garden. 6 knockdowns in 4 rounds.
Yeah, that was a baptism by fire right
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely. So that was a DAZN show. Then we had who was last
Friday night.
Last night we had the World Boxing Super Series. Prograis had another impressive win.
Prograis a badass.
Right.
And Ring Magazine's
That was a JP
number
pick.
one rated.
That was one of JP's picks.
Who was
Yeah.
favored?
Well,
in that?
Relic's not an easy guy. He's never been stopped.
Relic's
he
a
gives
solid
everyone
guy.
hell. Yeah,
Relic's
he's
a
pretty
solid
big
guy,
for the
but,
weight as well.
But Prograis was favored in that fight.
Oh, absolutely. Prograis, he should be the number one rated junior welterweight.
You think over Josh Taylor?
We have Josh Taylor number 2.
Number 2?
Yeah.
And Prograis number 1?
Yeah, Prograis number 1.
They're like right there neck and
Yeah,
neck.
so our number 1s and number 2 junior welterweights, they didn't have titles. You know, like Prograis just got his first
Right.
world title.
Yeah, you're right.
But that doesn't matter. We just look at how good
You
they
gotta
look
go
and
by
who they
quality
beat.
of competition.
And then
yeah.
the 4 title holders were underneath those 2.
Well, look at Triple G. When it took him so long, you know, when Felix Sturm didn't want to fight him, and
That's
the other
right.
champions didn't want to fight him, but he was clearly the best.
Doesn't mean he wasn't a top middleweight. Yeah.
Right.
So how'd you like Prograis' interview afterwards?
I loved it.
It was
Even
great.
though he was dropping F-bombs, I love it. He's genuine, man.
No, he is. He's real.
Yeah.
He can talk too.
He's a good, because he's smart.
Yeah, he's
He's
very
a smart dude.
And Nonito Donaire had a big knockout victory. He was on. Nonito Donaire was on.
That's a
Superfly.
guy. Now is he 36
Superfly
or
1.
38?
He was on Superfly 1. Remember when Inoue was on that show? And we had Donaire. I don't know if it was on Superfly 1, but
Donaire against
Nonito
that
was
tall
on,
guy.
or Nonito might have been on one of the Triple G fights.
Yeah.
He fought on one of the Triple
StubHub.
G fights at StubHub.
Yeah, he got,
Against that tall guy.
He got beat by
Against against
Oh,
the
you're talking
Axe.
about
Axe
Nicholas
Man.
Walters.
Nicholas Walters.
Oh, Nicholas.
That's
and
right. And Donaire.
and I thought, and
That's
a lot
when
of
he
people
went
thought
too
that
heavy,
he was
I think,
finished,
right?
and he should retire.
right.
And
But
look what
wasn't
he's
that
done.
at 122? Because Donaire at 118 now.
It's at 126.
126.
That was
That was the
featherweight.
problem.
It was the WBA
Now at
featherweight
118,
title.
he seems like a totally rejuvenated, much better.
And Doug and
much
I
better fighter.
saw Nonito's first fight,
Yeah. It was in
Where was the
Inglewood.
pro debut?
Hollywood Park
Hollywood Park.
Casino.
Oh yeah, they were doing fights at the Hollywood Park Casino. That's right.
Yeah. And then his second fight, he lost
Yeah.
because he was having problems with,
Should we name her?
you know who?
He was women weaken legs, even women fighters. Is it Bridget
Right.
Baby Doll Riley?
Yeah.
We
it
just
was.
did a story on her
Yeah,
in Ring
see, that's a
Magazine.
story a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
And
I don't know
he
if we
was.
should put that out
Hey,
there.
but I got to tell you,
A little too late for that.
I know.
It's okay,
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
But you know, one of the greatest fights I've
Yeah.
ever.
It's okay.
Yeah. One of the greatest fights I've ever seen is when Nonito knocked out Darchinyan. Oh my God, he won every second
And
of every
Darchinyan
round.
was very dominant at that time.
Totally.
Yeah,
That
very
was
dominant.
a shocker. But not to them, it wasn't. His- And his dad did a great job training him for that fight.
But you know what? As good as his dad does in the conditioning and in the corner, I think it was a really good move for Team Donaire to bring in Ken Adams. Because Adams, I can see
Kenny
it
Adams,
in his
a lot of knowledge
technique.
there, yeah.
Yeah, and Adams loves
Sometimes
the left
you just
hook.
click. Sometimes you just
Yeah.
click with the trainer.
But Adams
Look at,
is a very underrated old school trainer.
Look at Buddy McGirt,
Yeah.
what he did with Kovalev
Yep.
for his last fight. You know, Buddy, the famous trainer from Arturo Gotti. I knew Buddy from when Kevin Kelly was fighting at the Garden. You know, he was the welterweight champion. Kevin was the featherweight, and Buddy would come in on a cold winter day for the weigh-in, have his long, full-length
Fur
fur
coat.
coat on with the hat, and he would walk into the weigh-in like that.
Yeah.
It was
What's
it was a
his-
scene
so
to be
what's
seen.
his greatest accomplishment as a trainer?
It's
No
gotta-
close second.
Oh, well, it's got to
gotta
be
be
Antonio Tarver knocking out Roy
Yeah.
Jones.
Okay, yeah.
And they
Roy
worked
Jones
on
was
that.
supposed to be the best.
They worked on that one punch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
so,
training
no, you're right.
level.
At that time, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stand corrected on that.
So good.
No, Buddy's had a lot of
Getting
lot of
into
great
the Hall
success.
of Fame.
Yeah,
Yeah. We got
As
a story
a-
on him in the next
could be
magazine,
as
as a
a-
matter of fact.
fighter and a trainer,
Yeah.
theoretically.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
No, he's
improved-
accomplished
he's
enough.
improved now.
in
He
both
sort of
areas.
went downhill a little bit as a trainer. Now I think he's back up there.
Yeah.
Something happened. I mean, he seems to be more settled and make more sense to me.
Because of Triple G's situation with Abel Sanchez, everyone's talking about
Let's talk about trainers.
what good does it,
Right.
you know, how successful is it to change trainers late in a career? And we have a lot of examples where it does work out well, like Kovalev going with Buddy McGirt,
How about Cotto?
Miguel Cotto going with Freddie
Freddie,
Roach,
No, that's
you know, and
Cotto was through.
somebody asked me in the mailbag, and I asked, they were asking about examples of people changing trainers and getting better. And I brought up Emmanuel Stewart.
Manuel Stewart,
with the
Vladimir
2
Klitschko.
heavyweight champions.
And
Actually,
Lennox
he had
Lewis.
3 heavyweight champions.
Yeah, and
Lennox
Lennox Lewis, yeah.
Klitschko, but even briefly with Evander Holyfield.
That was after Lennox got drilled by Oliver McCall.
That's right.
Then he started training him.
And Stewart trained Oliver McCall for that Lennox Lewis. That
That's
first
right.
Lennox Lewis fight.
Right, and then he was actually in the corner with the Brewster loss, but then after that, you know, he took over and
Yeah.
had the Sam Peter fight in Lennox City. We were just in
Yeah.
Lennox City with Christina Hammer and Clarissa Shields,
Yeah.
so that was a historic. They still have the photo up there with
Oh, really?
Vladimir and Sam Peter.
Vladimir got knocked
Yeah,
down
the
3
boardwalk
times
ball.
and still won a decision.
Because he won
But he had
every
to go-
other round.
He did. He
And,
did.
he
He
did
had
get
to get
knocked
through that.
Yeah.
He had to learn that I
And
could
he
take a
had
hard
Peter
punch
wobbled.
and I could be okay.
Through that left hook, had Peter
Yeah.
wobbled in the 12th round.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of history there. So what else? So what other topics do we have?
JB had a big night last
Big
night.
night on
Yes.
with Estrada and
We're
yeah,
probably
last
not
night-
going to
last
talk about
night,
Showtime's
Prograis.
card, are we?
Showtime.
I watched. I had it on. It was Victor Postol against some awkward dude. It was 2 awkward dudes, and then the main event was Rancis Barthélemy and Robert Easter.
I heard a lot of
2
people
tall,
complaining.
rangy dudes, and it was like it wasn't boxing.
I didn't watch
it
that
didn't
fight,
work
but I
out.
heard a lot of people complaining.
It was like
about
it was like you know, it was like
Yeah, that's not when the styles
2
don't
tall,
mix
skinny
like that.
dudes dancing.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was weird, but like weird. It was like some weird martial arts mime.
Don't throw a punch.
Right. Yeah. That was.
Speaking
weird
of
stuff.
Superfly,
Just didn't work.
Ioka's going to fight Palikte in Japan for that vacant
For the
WBO
vacant
title.
WBO title.
Yeah,
Okay.
June 19th. That'll be a great fight.
That's going to be in Japan.
Remember, that's when
How can we see
Palikte
that?
fought
I wanna watch
Nietes.
it. Right.
That might be on. Yeah, that'll be on US TV.
Yeah, first
This one,
Palikte fought Nietes, and that was
Yeah,
a draw,
it was a draw,
on Superfly 3.
Yep.
And then
Nietes
Ioka
beat,
and
right,
fought
Ioka in a
Nietes
close decision. Yeah.
in
That was
like
in
Hong
Macau.
Kong or Macau. Yeah,
Macau,
there
yeah.
you go. And I thought Ioka pulled that one out, but whatever.
I
So
would
Donnie doesn't want to fight Palikte again
Right.
because the WBO made Palikte the #1
right.
contender. So Aoki's like, okay, I'll fight you, and they're
Yeah.
going to fight for the vacant
That's a
belt.
good fight.
It is a good fight.
It's a very good fight.
Yeah. I like Ioka a lot.
And then we have what do we have? May 4th, Canelo and Danny Jacobs coming
Can you
up.
believe it? Okay, this
Coming
is
up.
all right. This is your last
Are you
chance.
saying
All right,
this
are you
is-
guys going to
that's
stick?
no Canelo Triple G promotion? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is, Coach, are you going to stick with your thought that this is not going to be a competitive fight?
I'm stronger about it.
Really?
Coach is getting
Totally.
more convinced
Your last,
every day.
your last
No.
chance to because I,
Tell
you
them how
know,
you really feel.
No, it's really your last chance.
there's no doubt in my mind that's going to be a difficult
Well,
fight.
I'm
It's going to be a competitive fight. Is what
Are we
I'm saying.
betting? Are we betting on that?
Are we betting?
I'm on
Betting
right
breakfast.
with this.
Betting is like
What,
Steve-
But I'm
how do
just
you
saying-
define competitive? Like more than 8-4, 8 rounds
Yeah.
of 4?
If
It's
you
8-4
win
or
4
above.
rounds, if you win more than 3 rounds, it's a competitive fight.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
3 rounds?
Yeah.
You think he's going to win more than
I
3
think he
rounds?
can do whatever he wants to do.
Canelo can.
Canelo, yeah. I don't think it's. I think it's going to be a decision, but
Okay.
I'm just repeating myself from the previous weeks.
Right. But you think he has his way?
This is
He's
the
in
easiest-
total command.
You know, I
It's
would
going to be
say
like the Chavez Jr. fight.
This is the easiest fight to pick of all time.
Really?
Of one of the big fights.
I
of
don't
course,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, big fight.
I think.
I mean, this is.
I
Anyway,
can't conceive it.
I can't wait.
Okay. All right.
And then we're supposed to have June 1st. We're supposed to have the announcement of the replacement opponent for Jarrell Miller.
I thought that was supposed to happen this
Supposed
weekend.
to happen this weekend, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So Eddie still has today to announce it. So
Huh.
we'll see.
I hope Andy Ruiz gets
It's going to
it.
be Andy Ruiz.
You think so?
For sure, positively.
That's the word on. That's the word.
Is that
Word
the
from
word
the
on
curb.
the curb? Yeah.
Is that how Rosado says it?
Yeah, that's
Raging
what,
Babe.
Michelle
Word
Rosado.
to the curb?
Yeah. No,
Whatever.
word on the curb.
Word on the curb.
And Giandra LeBuff was on that too. But and then when is the Hollywood Fight Nights? May 19th, right?
May 19th.
Sunday.
So we have a main event. We have Sergey Boichuk. He returns
Against
as the,
Freddie
as the headliner.
Hernandez. This
Freddie
is
Hernandez.
very
Let
this
me
is a
ask you,
step up fight for
Freddie
him.
Hernandez in his last televised fight, was it against the Irish middleweight? Was it against Jason
I
Quigley?
looked at his
Did he
record,
do-
but
did he
yeah,
do
I think he
well?
did. I think he did lose to Quigley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You know,
But
he's
people
fought
were
some-
thinking Quigley was going to
Freddie
blow him
Hernandez
out.
has a win over Alfredo Angulo,
Really?
if I remember
All right.
correctly. Yeah.
Angulo's still fighting.
Angulo just had a win.
He did at super
He
middleweight.
trained like 8 months for one fight.
Did he?
He had 3 fights canceled.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He's always at the Hollywood Fight Night.
He's at the Hollywood Fight Nights.
Good guy.
So Alan Bečić is those guys are arriving today. They're supposed to be on it. Devon Lee, who Mike tells me sells a lot of tickets.
I like Lee.
Devon Lee is very exciting on social media.
Lee was taking the distance for the first time in the last
an
Hollywood
exciting
Fight
style.
Nights.
That's right.
But he fought sick.
Yeah,
He was
did have
sick.
that. He asked me how did Triple G fight when he had the flu against Gabe Rosado, and
Yeah.
I told him, I said, look, he got sick on the plane ride over there. The worst was on Thursday. Friday morning, we kind of went through the motions on, for the weigh-in, and then Friday night we were still up in the air, and then Saturday morning he started feeling better, and we were good. HBO knew something was up because we would normally give him all kinds of access for Triple G, and we wouldn't let him film him like in the room because there was all kinds of tea and lemon and all, you know, whatever, you know, just all the medicinal things,
Yeah.
you know, and.
But they got enough material to do a really good 2 days.
But it was
feature.
that was
made it.
That was
made
one
the
of
2
their
days.
highest rated 2 days.
Yeah.
Was that one on?
You saw that drama unfold.
Right.
And
That was
all
a great fight,
right.
too.
Yeah, all that angst and
Yeah,
we have a fight.
Right.
We do have a fight. Is our guy going to be
that
able
was
to perform?
right.
You know what he did? He just fell back on that jab, man.
Yeah,
You know, just worked that jab. I was there.
and he had
And
Rosado all bloody.
I'd never seen a dude's
bloody
face
jab.
that chopped up from just punches,
jab.
and not headbutts and punches.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or elbows or other stuff. Just legal punches, mainly the jab. So, that was,
It's like Lemieux controlled Lemieux with the jab.
and that was the last time Triple G wasn't in the main event.
Yeah,
'Cause the main event was Mikey
wasn't by
Garcia,
design.
Orlando
And no one
Salido.
was
That
there.
was
No, I know, it was
that
Top
was
Rank's
our
date.
show. Well,
Or
it was
was
supposed
it?
to be our show.
Oh, okay.
And then I made an agreement with HBO where they actually merged 2 shows
Oh.
because Top Rank was going to go to Puerto Rico,
Uh-huh.
and HBO didn't want to go to MSG and Puerto Rico, so we agreed to merge it.
Oh,
That was a Top Rank thing where they kind of like, yeah. Well, we insisted on fighting at MSG, so
Yeah.
it worked out okay. But that was one of those shows.
Oh,
where,
they didn't.
where
HBO didn't want to do a split site. I got you.
But that was one of those shows where people left before the main event.
Yeah.
A lot of the Triple G fans.
Oh no, it was like
It was a
Garcia
no-brainer.
Salido was like the walkout.
It was
bout.
that would have been a great fight here in LA, but
Yeah.
Garcia Salido just didn't make sense in New York, where Triple G had sold the majority of the tickets.
So who do you think Garcia fights? Mikey Garcia fights next.
Well, he just gave up his WBC lightweight title, correct?
Did he say is he going to go to 140 or he hasn't?
No,
he
I
hasn't
heard he was
decided?
talking about staying at welterweight.
Staying at
He
47?
wants money. He wants. It's like Robert Guerrero or Pacquiao, who was successful going up in weight because he's a
Pacquiao Garcia is
incredible
a good
talent.
fight. That's a good fight.
But Mikey Garcia doesn't have that athleticism, in my estimation. He doesn't have that athleticism to really be a world-class welterweight. It's the rare fighter who could move up in weight and be just as effective as he was in the lighter weights.
So we have on Hollywood Fight Nights, we have Devon Lee, we already announced. We have Bečić. We have Sergey Boachuk. Then we have the return of George Navarro. Very exciting.
Yeah, bantamweight,
Bantamweight,
tall,
yeah.
good-looking kid.
Good-looking kid.
Yeah, good style.
We have Christian Robles, also exciting.
Oh, you have another stacked card.
This one has a lot of talent on it.
Adrian Corona, is he
Adrian
coming
Corona
back? Oh my goodness.
is he's always in a war. An exciting fighter, brings a lot of people out.
Do
Yeah.
you have any women?
Not on this show. Who am I missing, Mike? On that show. Besides Corona, besides George Navarro.
You got Philly Rubalcaba
That's right, Philly Rubalcaba is going to be on that
versus
show
El
too.
Chino Constantino.
That's a good fight too.
Gino Constantino.
Philly just had his first loss. He just had his first loss, so that's a good matchup. All those matchups are really good.
It's a 6-round fight.
So that's Sunday. Doors open at 3:00.
And that's May 19th.
May 19th at the Avalon.
Day
at Hollywood
before
and
my
Vine.
49th birthday.
Everyone that wants tickets is 360promotions.us. We sold out, I think, the last 4 shows. It's an
Not too
exciting
shabby, Tom.
exciting fight. That's kind of old school promotion. Yeah, that's where you get to see the guys. Ali Akhmedov was on the last show.
Yeah.
Boachuk was on the last show. Ali Akhmedov is going to be on the Triple G show June 8th.
Oh, by the
At
way,
the Garden.
Boachuk in the next magazine, which will be out, the digital edition will be out in about a week. Our new face is Sergey Boachuk.
13-0 with 13 knockouts. We'll
That's
see if
right.
he keeps his knockout streak.
Do you know who
Bye-bye.
else was just 49 this week?
Just turned 49 in the boxing world?
No.
Oh.
Melania Trump.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. Wow, very
Saw
good,
that.
Tom.
That's
Tom,
good,
Tom
yeah.
keeps up on these current events. That's good.
And Jackie Fallon just had a birthday, also.
No comment.
We saw that. She just
I
had a
wasn't
birthday
here
recently.
last week.
Yeah,
You
these
have-
are from last
You
week.
got anything for me?
Coach has them all typed up. He's ready. He's ready to go. Do we have any? So we covered pretty much the fights from last week and the upcoming fights, right? So we're pretty caught up on
Yeah.
all that.
I'm
We'll
trying
be
to think what
announcing-
else is going on what's after. So there's trying to think of the undercard for Canelo Jacobs. Virgil Ortiz Jr. is on that card. I like him. Lamont Roach, I like him. David Lemieux was supposed to be on it, but he had to pull out with an injury. And I think they
David
kept it. I
Lemieux
think
hasn't,
they
David Lemieux made me look
Yeah.
bad when he didn't fight in December, and I was
Yeah.
telling everyone I was guaranteeing it wasn't going to be Danny Jacobs.
Yeah.
It was David Lemieux. If he would have had a
Yeah.
knockout, it looked impressive. It would have been Lemieux, but since he
I
didn't
mean,
fight,
there's a reason Lemieux is always on these Canelo undercards, or
Yeah.
he's scheduled to be on these undercards. They do want him. It's a makeable. It's right there. It's an in-house fight.
and the Triple G undercard we'll be announcing here in the next week or 2 weeks, but definitely Ali
June
Akhmedov.
8th, Madison Square
June
Garden,
8th,
the
yeah,
return.
on the zone. Yeah.
Yeah, and Madison Square Garden's got to be happy about that.
Somebody asked me about there was or it was responding to your thing. Why is Steve Rolls at 164? But Steve Rolls has always fought higher than 160.
Steve Rolls is a
He's
super
like
middleweight.
super middleweight. So in this is a non-title fight. So Gennady could fight at whatever weight he wanted to fight. So he agreed to go up 4 pounds. And
Hey, Rolls
I'm
is a
not-
sharp guy.
first non-title
Yeah, he's a
fight.
good interview.
Smart
I'm not
guy,
familiar with him,
very,
but I trust my
Good-looking
friends
guy, clean
in
cut.
Canada. And Ryan Scalia says he's got talent. And
He was
Scalia's
on
got a podcast.
two-time national champion. He was on the national
Right.
team. So he's got a lot of amateur experience as well.
Yeah, but I heard him
Undefeated.
talk on this podcast, the Great Fight North, with Ryan Scalia and Jason Tufexis, and he's really sharp dude.
Well spoken.
He reminds me of Willie Monroe Jr.
Similar.
Yeah,
And he
I
carried,
think he's a bigger, but he's a
way they-
bigger guy.
I mean, the way they are,
and
the
he
way
has a
they
more
talk
aggressive
and their
style. Yeah,
personalities.
he carries himself really
Sharp
well
guy.
at all the press events that we did with
very-
him.
he's-
Carried
yeah.
himself very
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
and I know Gennady, he respects that.
Yeah,
He likes that. He likes
absolutely.
boxing where
Yeah.
it's like the gentleman.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't like when Canelo put his forehead on, like
That
ran
was
over.
weird. You know,
him.
that was weird. That was out of character.
That was
for
out of
Canelo.
character for.
Yeah.
Canelo,
That's
It worked,
why
it worked for Canelo.
That's why I picked Triple G in the second round knockout. after
Right,
he
you
did
thought the
that.
Canelo was unraveling, right?
Yeah,
Mentally.
totally, yeah.
No, Canelo, he keeps it together.
So another
We
thing.
still feel Triple G is undefeated, so
That's fair.
That's,
He's unbeaten in my eye.
You know, I saw this interview last night with Abel.
Yeah.
And they
oh,
said,
Abel
like,
and Michelle Joy Phelps.
That's
right,
who.
yeah.
That's her name.
It's
Yeah.
an incredible interview.
I haven't watched
Abel
it yet.
was so good. He was so good. And you know, it's just big change there. He really took the high road, but he's a smart guy. Abel's really smart, and he's really a good talker. And it
Yeah.
was a really good interview because she asked him some, tough questions.
Some pretty direct questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, very. And you got to watch that. It's on
People
YouTube.
were asking me about the Abel thing is look, Abel's a very close friend of mine. Gennady naturally is a very close friend of mine, and that's between
Yeah.
them.
No,
I
but-
tried to
Yeah.
get them to figure it out, but sometimes you hit a speed bump, and Gennady's moving forward, and Abel has tons of champions still in his gym.
He does.
Oh, but Abel seemed great, and it was a really good interview. And he's a very bright guy.
We would have to. I would say, Doug, and you can confirm whether I'm exaggerating or not. I think Triple G had the most of recent times, the most dominant run in recent times. 23 knockouts in a row as a champion.
Yeah, certainly middleweight division, but any division.
20 title defenses.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're talking about 20 title defenses, who has equaled or exceeded that? You got Bernard Hopkins, you got Joe Lewis.
But just as
You got,
dominant
like,
as
you
he
know what I
was,
mean?
as
Right.
dominant as he was in the ring.
Right.
People were vacating titles not
Right.
to fight him.
And how often do you see 20
When do
plus
you see
knockout
that?
streaks?
Yeah.
It's like you got to you're talking
And-
about like Wilfredo Gomez, had like 17 title defenses all by knockout.
And whatever, I know there's
And I
haters
think
out
maybe
there.
his first 30 fights. By
Whatever
knockout,
people say
something
about
like
his opponents, we were getting the best opponents. HBO
Yeah.
testified this. We were getting the best opponents that were willing to get in the ring with him at that time.
There's revisionist
Sturm.
history with
Felix Sturm didn't get in the ring with him.
Golovkin, though, because there's people who say, well, he never fought any contenders, and it's like Matthew Macklin was top 5 middleweight
Right.
contender when they
At
faced
that time.
each other. So was Daniel Gill.
Daniel former world champion.
Right. And Macklin should have had a title. And same thing with Murray.
Martin Murray.
Martin Murray should have
Should
had
have
a
been
title.
should have
These
been a
guys
world
had
champion.
fought for the title. They fought the champions, and they got jobbed. Or, you know, the
And
champions
he
got a
was
gift
knocking
against
guys
these
out that
cats.
had never been knocked out
Yeah.
before. The guy Ishida, remember Ishida beat...
Oh, yeah.
Who did Ishida beat? He beat
James Kirkland. I was there.
He beat
One round.
Kirkland,
And he went 10 rounds with Pirog,
right?
Dimitri Pirog, and 10 rounds,
Didn't he
10
go
or
with-
12 rounds with Paul Williams.
With Paul Williams.
He
that's
was
right.
he was a dude known for his durability,
And
and
Triple G
took
knocked
him
him
out.
through the
It
ropes.
was a right hand, yeah.
And
Monaco, right?
the way Daniel Gill was stopped, we'd
He
never
was never
seen
stopped
before.
like that, no.
Matthew Macklin was taken out with that body punch. Never seen that before.
Yeah.
Even the guy in Germany, remember? Now I'm forgetting his name, but the guy he had gone the distance.
Oh,
with Arthur
yeah.
Abraham.
Yeah.
He
Dude
had
from
gone-
Philly.
From Philadelphia.
Yeah, I forgot that guy's name, man.
He had never been.
He was a
stopped
good
before.
fighter, yeah.
Never been stopped before, and now you knocked him out in the first round with it. So when I'm
Yeah.
talking about dominance, I mean the guys that.
Oh,
would
no,
get
it's
in the
very,
ring with them.
yeah. It's very rare to
But
see guys
like you
that
said,
dominant.
there's revisionist history of
Yeah.
what, Sergio Martinez. He might have wanted to fight him, but Lou, as much as I like
Yeah.
Lou, because he promotes Steve Rolls.
Yeah, and Lou was
he
open
wanted
about
no-
that. I wouldn't
no
I'm not putting
part.
my guy in
He wouldn't
there
even
with him.
start to negotiate because we were just doing anything to get in guys in the
Right.
ring with Triple
Yeah, and
G at that time.
Martinez at the time was the lineal WBC
Right.
and Ring Magazine
That
champion,
would have
but he
been-
had so many after actually fighting Martin Murray, his
Yeah.
body, the fights with Chavez Jr. and Martin Murray.
And Macklin dropped him.
Yeah,
Remember
Macklin gave
dropped
him a tough fight. Yeah,
Martin Murray
I forgot about
dropped
that.
him twice in Argentina, but
Yeah.
only got credit for one.
Those fights took a lot out of Martinez. His
Right.
body was
And
breaking
Chavez
down
took a
by
lot out of
then, so,
Martinez.
I mean, he was champion, but he was like semi-retired.
Even
He-
Chavez
before
Jr.,
Cotto
we
got
tried to
him.
get him when he was still with Top Rank or at the end of that Top
Right.
Rank relationship.
That was close, though, wasn't it?
It was very close.
Yeah.
Bob Arum guaranteed him $7 million back then
Yeah,
to fight Triple G.
Well,
right.
you guaranteed
And,
him.
And had a guarantee
10
that if you
million.
lose,
And
you
another
get like a
another
$5
$5 million. No,
million.
I knew what the deal was. Another $5 million if he lost, and
Yeah.
and he wouldn't sign. So people were just not wanting to fight Triple G.
Where was that fight going to
the
be
time.
if it took
At the
place?
Forum.
Golovkin
Either
Chavez.
at the Forum or in Vegas. I could have seen that in Vegas at that time.
Okay.
Wasn't it
GM?
almost set? I mean, the date
It was
set,
very close.
That would have been an
Then-
HBO pay-per-view.
And then I thought Eubanks was set. You know, Eddie Hearn was negotiating with him for 5 weeks. Kept telling me he's close, he's finalizing the deal, and then that never happened. Billy Joe Saunders, we were supposed to go at that time when he fought
I
Carl Brook.
remember.
We were supposed to go to the UK
Yeah.
to fight Saunders. I mean, Triple G is a guy that was going to go anywhere to fight guys.
He was the boogeyman. No one wanted to
Yeah.
touch him.
Even
I don't blame him.
Even Adama. I mean, under the economics of Monte Carlo, Adama had never been stopped before. He went the distance with Daniel Gill
Yeah.
and Triple G.
Yeah, that was the guy from, he's out of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So
Out
at
of
Monte
Chicago.
Carlo, does everyone get dressed up to go to those
Everyone wears either a tuxedo or a suit with a tie. Yeah, that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
Hollywood Fight Nights is the VIP boxing experience. That's the ultimate VIP boxing experience.
Yeah, that's the
Black
royal
tie
boxing
events,
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some great. Triple G fought there 3 times.
And to get a ticket, you have to fly in your own private jet that you own.
Not necessarily that, but that goes back, Doug, to your point was that we were trying to get the best guys in the ring. Martin Murray couldn't get a visa to come to the United States.
Right.
Triple G's fighting on HBO. He's selling out arenas. It would have made sense for Murray, especially at Madison Square Garden. Murray and Triple G couldn't get
Coach, you know why he couldn't get a visa?
visa.
He was like one of those football hooligans in his youth, so he
Oh,
was
really?
a thug. Yeah.
He
He changed his life, turned his life around. I'm sure he's a great
Martin's
guy
one
now.
of the
Yeah.
greatest guys that I've met.
Yeah, he's-
A very classy
He
guy.
wasn't getting into the country.
But
with his
but
record.
can you imagine guys going out of their way, say, okay, you can't fight here, we'll fight you in Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
Because couldn't fight over here, and that was the first time I've ever seen a fighter. After they fought each other, the next day they went. We were at a restaurant, and Martin and his manager Andrew McHale came over and said hi to us at the restaurant out of respect. And both guys, he had a tremendous amount of respect for Martin Murray and the way he carried himself.
Murray
also.
lasted into the 11th round.
Yeah, that would have been a fight.
And that was peak form.
Yeah.
Triple G.
That would have been a fight I would have stopped earlier if I was on
Yes,
Murray's side.
I agree.
He was losing he was competitive,
He was getting
but
broken
losing
down.
every round.
And I think he lost a step. After
And
that fight,
I mean,
too.
look, going 11
Physical.
rounds with Triple G is no easy feat.
Yeah.
So
Just ask Danny.
Danny Jacobs, well,
He's never been the same.
he hasn't
since.
looked the same either. No, not those 3 fights after.
So I'm gonna give you one more chance.
No, I'm sticking with. I think it's a good fight. I'm not sure it goes the distance either. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be, and I'm not saying it's going to be like World War II either. It's not going to be a firefight.
I think Canelo is.
It's going to be tactical, but it's going to be very intense, and it's going to be interesting because of how the styles match up.
I think Canelo's improved dramatically over the 2 Triple G fights.
Yes.
The first fight, they didn't want, like when he vacated the title, they wanted no part of Triple G. But then their pay-per-view numbers were down, and then so they agreed to do the Triple G fight. We had to give them a huge disparity in the split, even though Triple G was a champion. Canelo had the champion perks and everything. Yeah. But then somehow the judges figured out a way to get him a draw in that fight, which most people, overwhelming majority, felt that Triple G won that fight. But then the second fight, you could tell, okay, first fight, he went the distance. Second fight, he had a lot more confidence.
There you go.
Triple G was a year
older. To me,
older.
the story of that first fight was Canelo working through confidence issues.
Right.
Telling himself, you know what, I'm not going to get knocked out the first hard punch that lands flush.
Right.
Because at some point, you are going to get
very
hit
defensive.
flush.
Remember, he was moving quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, no, he
in
was.
that first round.
He was,
the second
spending
fight,
too much time on the ropes.
Yeah, second fight, he actually made it much more competitive.
And fighting Chavez at 164 before the first Triple G fight, that was good for him because it took him out of that comfort zone of fighting at 155.
But that ruined their narrative of
it did.
He's not a middleweight.
But I had always and I've been on record. I was on record for at least a year and a half saying that Canelo's hurting himself trying to fight a junior middleweight. There's no point in doing that. He's outgrown it. He's a thick dude. He's big. Got big bones.
But it's a good matchup for those guys right now. And if Canelo wins, if Triple G wins, then it's kind of a collision course with the whole zone.
But doesn't it seem like there's more players at middleweight now with Billy Joe Saunders? And if Sanders is going to stay at 160, I think he moved up to 168.
I think he's at 168.
But the thing is both Triple G and Canelo could fight at 168 or 164.
They could fight for Canelo's WBA title at 168.
That's right. But there's Demetrius Andrade.
Right.
Charlo's out there. Unfortunately, the politics of boxing.
I think that's a great
matchup.
I think Charlo and Triple G is a great matchup. Matchup. That would be a great fight. There'd be a lot of fireworks in that fight, and the build-up.
But with
the build-up to that fight.
But with Triple G's deal with DAZN, his fights have to be on DAZN, right? If he's involved, it has to. So Charlo would have to cross the street. But I think it would be worth it for Charlo to do that because of just the opportunity to fight a future Hall of Famer.
Right. Yeah, it could be.
I mean, if contractually an Al Heyman fighter is allowed to fight on another platform outside of Fox or Showtime, if they're getting paid well and they have an opportunity to fight a monster name or somebody, with 1 or 2 or 3 titles like an Anthony Joshua, I don't see why they don't cross the street. I mean, it's a gamble, but if you win, you take those belts back with you to your normal platform, right? It's like Pernell Whitaker fighting Julio Cesar Chavez on Showtime pay-per-view. He was an HBO contract fighter, and he jeopardized his contract by taking that fight, but he felt in his heart that he could beat Chavez, and he didn't beat him, but he got the draw. So he kept his title, but his stature, boom, automatically. Then he goes back on HBO.
I mean, that's how you would think it would be done because you raise your stock, then you go back to
your usual promotional network.
That's the problem we had with purse bids. If Triple G, because he had those 3 titles, if we got stuck in a purse bid, that's why we overpaid the situation with Danny Jacobs when he was a mandatory.
Yeah. All your mandatories got overpaid.
Oh, there-
Dominic Wade got $500,000. Dominic Wade, $500,000.
There's an interesting thing about I saw with Eddie Hearn was talking about Luis Ortiz.
Yeah.
That like sometimes the timing isn't good to take a fight. Well,
Yeah.
if you remember, we had
Oh,
that
right,
Danny
yeah,
Jacobs
people
fight
cycle,
made
yeah.
December 10th.
Right.
And then they said, well,
Oh, we
it was
need
12
12
weeks. It was 12 weeks, and then yeah, so that was a little bit of questionability why Danny couldn't fight in December. But that's Eddie's
know what
guy
it was
now,
that
so he's
year?
got to defend his guys just like if he criticizes.
That was 2016. That year, or no, that was, yeah.
Could have been 2000.
That was
It was
2016.
scheduled for
That's right.
December
2016, nobody
2016.
stepped up to the plate. Not Billy Joe Saunders, not Canelo Alvarez, not Danny Jacobs, not Chris Eubank Jr. All four of those dudes found some reason to like,
Not to do it. Should we do since you're doing the jump rope? You want to
yeah,
do the
man,
questions?
I'm standing around too much.
So we better go pretty soon.
Yeah, we should.
So what I had was
Hey, Mike, if anyone's got a question for me, you could read it. You're so quiet, man.
Oh yeah, if there's any.
Hey, it's by design today.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's by design today.
I like to read the comments, even though half the time they drive me crazy.
Yep. You know what? So here's a good one. Do you think that Andy the Destroyer is going to win some rounds against Joshua?
Yes, yeah, because he's got fast. Despite the flabby appearance, he's got fast hands, good combinations, and he can take a shot. And he goes for it too.
I like that fight.
He comes right at it, dude, and so it'll be interesting.
is Abel still training?
No,
Yeah,
that's
he's
it.
down there.
Abel trained him for the
think one fight.
Joseph
One
fight.
fight, yeah.
Well, a fight he could have won.
Yeah.
Had that fight not been in New Zealand, he might have won the WBO title. Yeah, that was a good fight. That was. Joseph is still fighting, right? I haven't heard from him. in a
Joseph
while.
Parker, yeah. he's
Yeah,
still
Joseph
fighting.
Parker.
Sure, yeah.
He's a cool cat.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy.
All right. You know what? She said, ask if Max and Sam Garcia are in the lead for the Triple G sweepstakes.
Dean Hamilton is. The three of them.
That's the coach's top pick. Is Dean.
Rumor
Hamilton.
has it
my
Golovkin
pick.
just
Dean-
bought a house in Salinas.
And if you want to see, Dean Hamilton is a young guy. His dad was the best boxing mind of all time, who knew how to teach. And Dean is the single best corner man I've ever seen. And he has Ruben Diaz IV, who's fighting on Showbox in a couple
He's
of
an exciting fighter. I
And
like
if
him.
you just-
Ruben
you gotta-
is an exciting fighter.
And last time he fought, they showed Dean a lot in the corner talking to him. It's like textbook. It's perfect. You couldn't write a script the way Dean is. So Dean would be great with Triple G.
Hey,
He really
Ruben
would.
Villa returns May 10. He's a headliner
May
for
10th,
Showbox.
yeah. So if you,
Showbox card in Corona.
so watch that, and then
Michael Dutchover's also on that card. That's a Thompson boxing show.
There's a lot of people who've reached out to put in their application for a trainer.
Oh, I believe it, yeah.
So,
yeah, I'll take a cut and pay.
you can be the conditioning coach. You can be with this. You got the new stopwatch, right?
I could pray. Yeah, I lost my other stopwatch.
What do you guys think about Robert Garcia wanting to coach Triple G? And that question's popped up 50 times.
Robert's had a lot of success
Yeah.
with different fighters. You know what
Yeah.
it comes to? A lot of times it comes to the chemistry. You could have a very well-known
True.
coach,
Yeah.
and if they don't mesh,
Yeah.
then or you could have a great talent. Like look at Shane and Jack Mosley.
Right.
Shane did great with Jack, but
Yeah.
Jack wasn't able to train any other
Right.
fighters.
Right.
So it's really a lot of chemistry.
And I also feel that really smart, disciplined, experienced veterans, they reach a certain stage where they're basically training themselves.
A lot of time.
Everyone needs a trainer, but Bernard Hopkins post Bowie Fisher. Nazim Richardson brought something to the table, but Bernard knew what to do. Bernard knew how to prepare for a fight. Bernard knew how to look at the style of his opponent and ascertain the weaknesses and come up with the game plan. And I could say the same thing about Johnny Tapia or George Foreman or any of these guys as they got up in age. they knew more than most young trainers, these old fighters. And I would put Triple G in there. I know he's a smart guy.
What Abel
you know.
brought to the table, in addition to the training, was he was always great with interviews. He brought the Mexican style. He brought a lot of Mexican fans out. So, you know, there's a lot of times, like Freddie will not only be a great trainer, but when you know, Manny's pretty soft-spoken, Freddie will be pretty outspoken. So a lot of times a trainer can complement a fighter's marketability.
Yeah, especially a quiet fighter.
When they're coming up.
Yeah. But Abel modified his style. That's something that I saw over the years from the first time I saw him spar. And the first fights that I saw of Triple G's, the style changed a little bit. Changed from sort of that.
He had a very dynamic style.
Yeah, that Eastern Bloc. Yeah, former Soviet Union sort of amateur style to the Mexican style, or just a more American style, more American professional style.
Going back to his opponents, a lot of people forgot those revisionist people.
Yeah.
Mike Hoppinger likes to be in that group. He's just
That's
angry.
sad.
Mike's angry that Triple G became a lot more popular than some American fighters.
It is
for
what it
whatever
is.
reason.
It's
And,
called paying the cost to be the boss.
But if you remember,
And you're the boss now.
Triple G was going to fight Pirog.
I was talking about Triple G.
Hey,
Remember, he was going to fight Pirog on his HBO debut.
Yeah.
Until Pirog got injured, back injury, never fought again. But he would have gotten that WBO title if he would have beaten Pirog.
Yeah.
Fight.
Wow. That's wow.
And
That's
nobody
true.
wanted to fight Pirog ever since
He could have
Pirog
been
knocked out
totally
Danny
undisputed.
Jacobs.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to fight Pirog, and
No.
Triple G had no problem.
Yeah.
Hey,
Abel,
our very own hostess with the mostest,
Cynthia
Cynthia
Conte, does she
Conte,
have
wants
a
to know
question?
about Papachenko or maybe Freddie Roach.
Huh. I think
Papachenko,
those-
you can't argue with what he's done with Lomachenko, with Usyk. He's had a big influence,
Yeah.
and Freddie again.
I feel like Freddie's a better fit for Golovkin than Papachenko.
There's a lot, again, I think it comes down to chemistry. How
I don't think the Papachenko thing will work.
Yeah.
He's just too tight. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Another guy that would be
When
good,
I look at how Lomachenko
Yeah.
and Usyk fight, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not Triple G.
but another guy that would be good would be Joe Goosen.
Oh yeah,
Joe's-
I think Usyk
Joe's
would
a
be good
terrific
too.
trainer. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a good trainer and a great commentator.
Oh
No,
my
no.
gosh, he's really good.
Joe's great on
Yeah, he's got
camera.
great experience.
And
What's the first fight he ever was a commentator on?
Was it James Toney versus Michael Nunn? Title win, 1991,
That was a great
Davenport,
fight.
Iowa.
That was a great fight.
TVKO. Remember TVKO?
That's where James Toney was the underdog in that fight, I think.
Huge. 17 to 1.
Oh, huge! And he was losing.
Yeah, he was.
Who was
As he
his,
should have been
Who was
losing.
his trainer?
James Toney?
Bill Miller.
Bill Miller, yeah.
He was good.
And Michael Nunn, who trained him?
The Goosens.
Goosens,
Yeah, but not for that fight. That
No,
was right
not
after
for
the
that fight.
split.
They were
Yeah.
both coming. But Dan Goosen was also on that broadcast.
Yeah.
He was really
But
good.
Excellent.
Dan promoted that fight, didn't he?
No.
No, they were
Oh,
out.
that fight?
They,
No.
yeah, he had split by then.
Yeah.
Michael Nunn had
I
split.
think
by-
Michael Nunn's out of jail now. Or getting out right now.
Man, you know what? Cassius. No, Michael Nunn is out of jail. Yeah, he's out.
So he could still fight by that.
Make a
He's
comeback.
not that old.
He probably will.
I'd love
Come
to see
on.
It's coming.
Yeah.
He was good. He was
Yeah.
Second to none.
Second. Yeah, he was supposed
Hey,
to
so
be
I
superstar.
think time for us to go.
And Cynthia Conte will be the hostess
Yeah.
for the. You know what, Doug? There's a lot.
Cynthia, get ready for another long night.
You're very popular as the editor of Ring Magazine.
Yeah.
But there are fans that come just to see Cynthia live, walking
I
around,
believe it.
hosting the show.
I've-
They don't even
I've
care about the
seen
boxing.
that.
They just want to come and see Cynthia at the shows.
Can you blame them?
No, I don't blame them.
She's got that soul glow. She
knows
And she's very insightful
She knows
in boxing. She
boxing,
knows her
yeah.
boxing for sure. Yeah,
and always
100%.
dresses the best. Yeah.
Her stock is
And
rising.
But we're
and
gonna-
she works really hard too. It's hard, It's not easy like being like an on-camera person and doing those interviews. You got to wait around. You got to jump in there, at a moment's
you
notice.
gotta find the promoter
a
when he's
second's
wandering
notice.
around backstage.
Yeah, and you got to fight
That's
off
not
these other
easy.
folks who are rude.
When I'm
and
supporting the
belligerent.
Tecate sponsor.
Yeah.
Hey, so Dougie, do you feel more confident now? Can you
What?
see how your commentaries
Doug's great.
progressed? I mean,
we get a lot of positive comments on Doug.
Do you feel differently going in than you did like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think I'm more confident. Yeah, I think so. It's not. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy for me because it's you know, I think like a writer, so I'm wordier than I
didn't
should
think about
be.
that, but yeah, between commentating and
Yeah.
writing. But
And then-
how much of a difference is it, Doug, to like the person you're? So the Hollywood Fight Nights, you're with Kevin Kelly, who's
Yeah.
a former fighter.
Yeah,
So-
who's the best, by the way?
So Thompson, you're with Beto Duran, who's
Yeah.
a very great analyst as
Yeah.
well. And then you even didn't you do it with Cynthia one time on our on one of our
No, I
undercards?
missed that.
that was
I
Steve
missed
Kim.
that. That was actually.
Steve Kim and
Cynthia.
Cynthia and
No, I
Kevin.
think it was Kevin.
I think it was all three.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I
I
did
think
work
it was all
with
three,
yeah. No, it was Steve, myself, and Cynthia on
yeah.
like the undercard.
And you
of
know,
one
she
of the
was very
forum
good.
shows.
She was really good.
She's a natural. Yeah, she's a natural. She's really good. Yeah, she should join us. I mean, I guess you know she's doing the host
Doing the
thing.
hosting, yeah. We don't
But
want to
she
take
would be
her.
good
We
at
need
the
her in
booth.
front of the camera.
Yeah,
You guys stay behind
yeah,
the
that's
camera.
True. Well, you put the camera on us when she's sitting
So
there.
do you ever get nervous before it starts?
A little bit sometimes, you know. If they just sometimes the producers will have you like there in the arena like 3 hours before the show, and you get kind of anxiety. You're just sitting there, and you're thinking about what you're going to say,
Pre-fight
and
jitters.
you think about it so much that you know. Imagine a fighter. You know, like these fighters who are on the standby fights or the swing bouts. They don't know when they're going to go on, and they're waiting. And sometimes it's not until the end of the card, and they're like getting ready. Like, no, you're not ready. Oh, okay. And they're getting ready, and then no. The next card, and they're getting ready, and they're warming up, and then cooling down, and warming up and cooling down, and then they get in the ring, and they're kind of flat. So that kind of thing can sort of happen. You know, just recently, the only thing that was bothering me is like my throat, like with in India, like the air is really dry, and I've been fighting like a cold. So it's like with my delivery, I couldn't be too exuberant or raise my voice that much because then it made me feel like I had to cough. So it was weird. I was kind of understated, and the guy I was working with, Jonathan Coachman, he's sensational. He's kind of like Beto. He's one of these broadcast guys who's like, you know, he's loud and he's got a lot of energy. So I felt bad. I'm like, man, this guy's got all this energy. He's so positive and up. And I'm kind of like just calling the action or whatever, you know. But no, it was fun. And it, you know, that was my first time working with Coach. And it was good. They were good fights. It was a good show. And I'm looking forward to working in Vegas. I think I'm going to work with Grishman.
Working the May
Might
4th
be.
show, yeah.
Well, there's a May 2nd. There's a Facebook show that Golden Boy's
that
doing.
Thursday
I
series,
think I'm
yeah.
working with Todd Grisham.
Okay.
Which
Are
would be
you
super
going
I
cool.
like
that
Todd
fight?
Grisham. I think
Yeah,
he's
isn't he
he's a
good? Yeah,
commentator,
I like his.
I like him.
They're both MMA guys.
That's right. Coach and Grisham come from the WWE, and then they were at ESPN for a long time. And they're sensational broadcasters.
Are you going to the Canelo fight?
Yeah. And I'm going to be doing two. Beto and I are going to be doing two of the undercard, like the free view.
Okay.
Like something, so it's like two fights that'll be on every conceivable social media platform, you know, with the design of driving people to DAZN to watch the main undercard and the main event. Yeah.
Any other questions, or are we gonna wrap it up there?
We should wrap it up, eh?
Yeah, it's a long
It's time to wrap it up.
So
But-
you're gonna like
Hey,
hold those
but, hey,
until next week?
one last one, and
Last
I'm
question.
afraid this is opening a can of worms. But what is up with that loophole with Jarrell Miller? You know, over there not having his license,
Yeah.
so now he can't be suspended.
I don't think it means a thing.
No,
That doesn't mean
the New York
If he-
Commission
If he
suspended him.
applies for a license, then
Yeah.
and if he's failed those tests, I don't see him getting a license.
They can't
Anywhere?
No, they can't
I don't know about
suspend the
anywhere, but not
license
in the
because he
United
doesn't
States.
have one.
Not in any, not with any strong commission.
No, he won't.
You know, it would have to be a really weak commission that would just let that through. But I mean, honestly, I think he should be suspended
It would
at
take
least
a lot
a
of-
year, if
a
not
lot
2
of-
years.
Well, especially with that history, where what was it, the second, and then he like it was like 2 or 3. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't,
in
I don't wanna get into
2014, he
details. I don't know the
popped
details
positive
on that
for a
one, but-
kickboxing fight, and that was the California Commission. That was just a regular state,
Right.
you know, test. And then with VADA, and VADA's going to find out whatever you got in your system. You know, having 3 different banned substances. All 3 performance enhancers.
That's a high profile fight.
The
to have gotten-
trifecta's too much.
That's
yeah.
a high profile fight to have gotten canceled. What's the other
Hard to
recent
blame on the
high-profile
meat.
fight that got canceled?
That rematch.
That's right.
Canelo Triple G too.
'Cause a lot of times you'll see lower profile guys
Yeah.
test positive. A lot of times.
No,
when
that's
you're
what
at
I
that
like
level.
about VADA. It don't matter who you are, how high profile the fight is, how big a star you are. They do their job, and their job is not to punish. Their job
It's just a report. the
is
results.
just to say this is what's in your system,
Right.
and you
Okay,
you
we're
either
gonna-
have a
we're
good
gonna- on that
excuse
note,
or
we're
you
gonna-
don't.
we're gonna wrap
you
it
know?
up.
Right.
Since Mike opened a can of worms.
You opened it, Mike.
Hey, it's hard to.
No,
hard-
but you know what? It's hard to avoid because it keeps happening.
Yeah,
And the thing
unfortunately.
is, the more that VADA catches people, it makes you wonder, okay, what's in the system of these fighters who are not undergoing VADA testing?
Right.
I mean, think about that.
And wasn't there some, not conspiracy, but wasn't it some of the promoters didn't want to use VADA? They were using
course.
USADA. And
Absolutely.
There was like a lot of allegations on why that
Yeah.
was happening.
Shoot, Richard Schaefer he used VADA for 2 shows, and they both got canceled. It was the Ortiz Berto rematch and the Peterson Khan rematch. They both got canceled because Berto and Peterson popped for something, testosterone or whatever. And
Stop using the VADA.
yeah, and Richard was like, we're going to USADA. We like them. And that's what isn't that what the UFC uses? Don't they go
think UFC
USADA?
uses USADA.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah,
So, Tom, are you
exactly.
going to Vegas also?
I'll be up in Vegas, yeah. I'll be up there.
You guys have a great time.
Yeah, we'll have fun. Yeah.
It'll be
my
a great
whole
event.
goal.
Anytime
Don't
Cinco
get
de
sick.
Mayo in Vegas.
Great.
Is a
Great
event.
atmosphere. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot going on fight week. And like I said, though, I think it's at the joint at the Hard Rock.
On Thursday night?
Yeah, it's a Thursday night fight. Yeah, Golden Boy's putting that on, and it's Facebook, and I think it's that Brazilian middleweight, Yamaguchi Fakao,
Okay.
is in the main event against Chris. Forgot his name. He's an Ohio guy, though.
Middleweight?
Yeah, he's a middleweight. It's Pearson, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's from Dayton, Ohio, so I kind of got to root for him, but I favor the Brazilian.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. With that, we're going to sign off.
Be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Have
Drive,
a-
drive like you just won the lottery.
Have a great week.
Let them in on
Be
the way
positive.
To, on the
Love
way to the
everybody.
Avalon on May 19th. Let everyone in. Wave to them as they're going in, and everyone will have a good day.
Hey, I'm not going to be able to gloat next week
Why not?
because of my big victory this Saturday night. Oh, wow.
On Sunday, you mean?
I mean,
if we
because
don't-
we're not
if
going to
we
be
don't
here
get the-
Sunday?
Saturday.
Okay, yeah. Sunday
I'm sure
afternoon.
there'll be some time for you to gloat on a future broadcast.
I'll eat crow if I have to eat crow. It's all good.
Get ready.